It's a conversation, at the top from an executive sponsorship level that we're leveraging AI, and this is going to be a tool to, create more productivity, create more detailed plans. It's an enhancement of each individual. For example, let's say you had 5 people in the department and each person got 20% better. It's like having a department of 6. You could do better customer service. You could do something better for the client.
Hey guys, Damian Stevens, host of MSP Mindset, founder and CEO of Servosity. Today, I'm blessed to be joined by Tim Guim at PCH Technologies. And we dove deep on what it takes to have adoption both internally as well as at clients. So if you'd like to go past chatting or past reselling a vendor and actually deliver value with AI to your clients, then you're going to want to listen to the conversation today. Tim has a unique angle as somebody that started in his basement, built a successful MSP, and now has been acquired by one of the largest MSPs in the world, yet still makes the decisions and runs things from an AI perspective. If you want to get the deep dive and understand how to turn this into a profitable business, don't miss out on my conversation today. Tim, I want to kind of get right into this. You were pretty early in AI, especially as an MSP. Tell me about where that journey started for you.
That's a great question, Damian. So I actually met with a friend of mine, Jimmy Hatzell from Hats AI, and I saw him at Robin Robbins do a presentation using one of the earliest versions of ChatGPT, where he was able to jailbreak it to actually create some ransomware code, which was done on a white hacker basis, not in a negative way. And I was intrigued on how powerful AI was at that point. And then just messing around with it a little bit myself, I said, this is going to change the industry completely as far as looking at what AI can do currently. Then I started reading. I started following people early on that were involved in AI. Ethan Mollick was one of them at the University of Penn that wrote a book as well, and is kind of a leader in that area. And I'm like, this is another thing that is going to change the IT industry and all industries significantly over time. I've been through other transitions, being an MSP for almost 30 years now. But with AI, I was like, this is going to be a game changer. And it's going to happen very, very quickly too, from what I could tell early on as things progressed.
I get the pleasure to be in build sessions with MSPs just like you, building real things with AI. And the number one friction point, the number one blocker is I can't connect to all the systems. In fact, my vendor makes an MCP server or a connector or whatever they call it, yet it's read-only. Another one tried it and it limited them to 100 records. How are you going to search for all the tickets when you can only get to 100? If you're tired of vendor connectors and MCP servers holding your business back, check out the MSP Skills Repo. The link is below. It's got over 50 different MCP servers, skills, and connectors that you can use to connect your entire stack to the agentic AI of your choice. Now, why do you care? The reason is you can now go through and say, find all the unused licenses that I'm paying for that I shouldn't be. Would you like it to go through and prep across all your different tools for that QBR? That thing that took you hours to prepare for one client is now one sentence. So if you want to make sure you're getting the value out of AI, you've got to connect it to your real world business systems. And there is no better place than the MSP Skills Repo. Check it out on the link below. And if you have questions or if you just want to join, learn more, come to one of the build sessions. You'll see us putting it into action. We were talking about this before. How is this different than a lot of the other transitions from managed services to break fix, or from on-prem to cloud or to cyber? How do you see this differently?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think that right now you have to look at it 2 different ways if you're going to deploy AI securely and properly. I think from an MSP perspective, if you bill yourself as a security first MSP, you should be providing governance and a secure use a secure platform or platforms of AI for your customers. So that's where the traditional cybersecurity piece would fall under MSPs. Now, what's different, that's completely different nowadays, is that you need to be almost a consultant. This goes back, reminds me of the days when I started out. I had my MSP was Break Fix. It wasn't an MSP, it was Break Fix. It's called PC Helpers. We fixed people's PCs. We networked. We built websites. We did access development. And I remember going in, solving myself, because I was small at the time, and I would code. And one of my first projects was a friend of mine was a DJ, and he was on my paper route. I delivered newspapers. He knows in computers. So I wrote an Access database that would track all his DJ jobs, what dates he had books, what he didn't, printed out all the contracts. It sounds something relatively simple that you could buy in the cloud, every day, but it was cutting edge at the time. But I had to understand his DJ business, understand deposits, money, things like that. So with AI, it's a little bit different, but you have to have that mindset to be able to consult with your customers. And I felt that I've worked with some clients where we tried to come in and be like the business consultants, where I brought an operating PE executive in to try to change procedures and processes. And I found that it's better to provide the tools and how to teach them to use AI versus becoming a domain expert. Like if you're an engineer and you're doing water calculations and you're an expert at that, AI can help you tremendously to do things much faster. Or you need to build out some type of plan or an RFP. It's going to save you a lot of time. Just getting people's heads around what the potential are. That's just the kind of scratching the surface before you start going into agents with people that they can find quick wins and they understand what it is. So it's also a different marketing message. It's going to be, you could go with secure AI, but it's also that we're going to improve your business processes that potentially could improve your overall customer experience, your net income. So it's a different message completely than the traditional MSP model if you're going to really get into it.
Yeah. So do you think this is different than a lot of us in MSP land of pick the vendor and resell it?
I think that AI, I don't think it's just pick a vendor and resell it. I think that when I look at AI in general, I think that yes, you could center some of your expertise around one particular platform. There's multiple platforms out there as your general use. I think you need to have one general use secure tool of some type, and then you're going to have edge cases that I see all the time. Like, for example, like for construction, using OpenAI because they have a very large file size for large plans. You could use Claude Cowork to access things on the computer, or use Claude's built-in Excel for the finance team. And you could be using Gamma for the marketing department for presentations. You could be using HeyGen for training. So I think it's a matter of, it's not just one tool, it's picking the right tool for the job is really important. But I think to be successful as an MSP, I think you should have a play on security of a main platform that you could support and learn. Your team knows how to run it. It's not going to do everything for everybody, but it's going to be the go-to. It's like the Microsoft Word or Excel that you have in your stack for AI to do the basics. There's going to be, and AI is built into all the different applications as well. So I think you really have to pick the right tool for the right job in the right industry. Is how I see it today.
Mm. So you're one of the few that's actually bringing this to market for clients, right? You actually have clients paying you guys for different aspects of AI. I talk to a lot of people and they're not sure how to not just be a consultant or make it time and materials only. And they love the recurring revenue of managed services, but they feel like they're falling into a managed time and materials trap. What's your take on what this means for business models?
I think business models are going to shift over time. I think currently, taking a platform and reselling it, a secure platform, with certain services around it, onboarding, training, an acceptable use policy in place for clients, and get them and get them familiar with it, with the solution. And then if they need additional time, project times after that, as well as corresponding compliance services in your financial vertical. If there's things for a credit union, for a bank, or let's say if you're a financial advisor, there's some new things that just came out that you have to have in place. So I think, consulting around those and charging, you could charge a monthly fee for the platform access, charge a monthly fee for the compliance aspects that you're managing for the client. And something that I have not done yet, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it, is how could you, this is really advanced as far as an outcome-based pricing model. Look, we're going to charge you just a platform fee, and for how many hours we save you, have some type of calculation to do that, or if there's a way that we can somehow, and I haven't figured it out yet, Damien. It's in my mind, and I have not figured it out yet, but if there's a way that we could look at an outcome-based pricing model, there may be some people out there doing it. I haven't figured it out yet, but I think that would be a big upside. Because even if you take a look at AI's impact on the legal field in general, I was talking to someone this morning about the different industries. And I think legal is one of the most impacted by AI with the most tools out there. Now, lawyers typically, they charge per hour. They charge them paralegal per hour. They charge nothing per hour. They got to read all these documents and do all this work. It takes a lot of time. And if AI can do it in 5 minutes compared to 5 hours, how do lawyers recapture that time? Are they looking on an outcome-based prices? Like, I don't know how they're, that's what I'm thinking. This is going to disrupt a lot of different industries. And I'm thinking that if we could build out a way, instead of just getting back to time and materials, that if we could save, let's say if you had a large project, you could save a client $100,000 by leveraging AI, building out a whole system, that MSP could take part in some of those savings as part of that. So that's one of the things that I was considering for the future.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think outcome will get there, but for I think a lot of folks, it's early days. Speaking of that, I know you have certain niches that you focus on, but you're in market with AI. What are you seeing from a demand perspective? What are the types of things people are asking for?
Yep. So our three verticals are construction, finance, and manufacturing. And the earliest we sold clients was back in mid 24. And we're seeing, again, we were kind of talking about it, and people are like, yeah, AI, but they weren't really understanding it. There were a couple people that were really visionary that were using it, but now we're seeing much more uptake. We recently had a workshop at our office. We had some of our key customers and prospects actually drive to our office to come to our AI workshop. I could not get them there. I could bring the FBI, the best speaker in the world, and I couldn't get them out there, but they were all there. There is a big appetite to understand how AI can impact business right now. And we see a spike in the platform with hats that we use. It's based around credit consumption. And we're seeing a big increase in credit consumption with the users, kind of for two reasons. One, they're using it more. And two, and some of the models are also becoming more expensive in terms of tokens and credits, when you're looking at it. So we're definitely seeing a big uptake. People are getting it, understanding what it can do, and then they're starting to use it. Not to its full potential, but they're seeing what it can do, and they're getting it out to the entire company instead of the hands of 3 or 4 or 5 people. Getting it deployed to the entire organization in different departments.
Speaking of that, you said most organizations have 3 or 4. They have a few AI people. Your goal is to get everybody using that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think that the one thing that the one reason the platform that we use with hats, the way it works with credit-based consumption, we can roll it out to the entire organization because you don't know who I call them, your AI explorers are going to be. Sometimes you think it's going to be your Gen Z workers that are already using it, but it could be another person that's very experienced and that they like, oh wow, they go through the training process that we have, and then oh wow, I can do all this work and I can save all this time, and they're diving into it. And by having everybody have access to it, instead of having the productivity gains on a few people, you the productivity gains across 30 or 40 people. And then you're also potentially finding people to become part of an AI committee to, really enhance that business's AI level of competence and having them to build systems even further. So I think that's the reason why, because I look at people, sometimes we go on calls and like, some people are in love with Claude, they're in love with this, they're in love with that, but they're not looking, they're kind of pigeonholed in what they're actually doing for and they're extremely smart, they're using it like they're experts at it. But I think with the executive support and having it multiplying the effect across multiple people is good. And some people are just not going to use it. And that's okay, but they can use it for the occasional thing here or there. But I think that's what I look at when I look at the value proposition. Why to have it across the entire organization.
How do you, like, culturally, some people love it, some people fear it. What have you seen, and like, how do you get past 3 or 4? Like, how do you get widespread adoption?
Yeah, that's a big, it depends on the culture of the company, executive support. Even inside PCH, I had some people that were kind of, in our administrative area that, this is going to be a threat. But I explained that it's not a threat. It's going to multiply your expertise. And we've been able to actually turn people into some of the biggest users of AI. But it's a conversation, at the top, from an executive sponsorship level, that we're leveraging AI, and this is going to be a tool to bring the company, bring an additional tool to everybody to do their, to be not more professional, but create more productivity, create more detailed plans. It's an enhancement of each individual. That we're looking at. We're not looking at replacing people. For example, let's say you had 5 people in the department, and each person got 20% better. Well, that means it's like having a department of 6. You could do better customer service. You could do something better for the client versus, spending the money. I'm not going to hire that additional 6th person, but you're able to actually leverage there. But it's a cultural thing. It's by client. Some clients are old school. Like, I don't want any AI at all. And you're not going to win them over. And what I talk about to some of the people on the fence, I said, it's going to be a shift. One of your competitors are going to use it, and they're going to be more efficient than you are in the very beginning. But I say the other part that I see in the future, like let's say you have to fill out RFPs, and if your competitor is using AI to do RFPs and they get very good at it, and there's potential that you could lose a big piece of business because they're using the AI to win more RFPs or be more specific or have more detail, then you're still using a manual process. And when it hits the pocketbook of the business owner, that's when things change. Yeah. The reason I say that is because cybersecurity. I was early on in cybersecurity, and I have a lot of friends like, "Oh, Tim, I don't need that cybersecurity. Tim, I don't need cybersecurity." Then you see ransomware, you see wire fraud, then you say, "Oh, Tim, I got to have cybersecurity all of a sudden because we're hitting their pocketbooks because the finance person was making a mistake or wiring money." So when it hits the business owner's pocketbook, that's when I see a lot of things. But as far as the change in attitude and behavior, so
yeah. Obviously, there would be clients that will be early adopters, and the others would be laggards. What kind of, like, I've noticed, you said something similar. I've noticed, I can't predict who those explorers are, who those early adopters are. I used to be able to when we went to cloud or when cyber was a bigger thing. Like it was usually the more senior people wanted to do it more, but now it's different.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Yeah. So I was very surprised. So there was an engineering firm that we work with, and somebody that I knew from the Chamber of Commerce, and he was trying to talk to. He's like a business development person, and he said, "Tim, I'm going to get you in to meet with them." So I came in myself and our sales director went in and we did a presentation on it. And one of the engineers there, and this is probably one of the most, a little more senior, but had a very, very keen engineering mind. And he was already using he was using 2 or 3 different AI engines to really streamline their calculations that they were doing. And he's been able to leverage the platform to a whole nother level, which I didn't, like even myself, I have a degree in computer science. I use AI and I use it pretty good, but it's changing so much with each model's different, how you need to interact and prompt with it. And it's a lot, but even we had some interns using AI. I'm like, they're using it like, it's like when I grew up, it was like email was the thing. And I was teaching the older people how to do email. It's kind of very passe, but I think that you don't know who's going to leverage it, who's going to take the time to actually do that. That's why I think it's important to get it in the hands of many people as possible. As an organization, provide the training and teaching people how to use it, not making it scary, and making it a welcome thing. So I think that's really a big thing. I've done a few things too on workforce development. I've done some presentations there, and I've talked about, getting people ready to using AI for the resume, because it gets screened a lot of times with actual AI to make sure people get through. But also I think that it's important that people entering the workforce, if I have candidate A and candidate B and one has AI skills and one does not, I would pick the person, all things considered equally, same qualifications, same everything. If the person has AI skills, that you're going to get a leg up as far as a candidate goes. So that's why I think it's important to embrace it versus putting your head in the sand like it's not out there.
Sure. Speaking of that, you mentioned kind of rolling this out and giving everybody access. Is that access to chat with it? Is that access to build automations? Is it something else? Like how are you helping people lean in and be able to use more or get more value?
So yeah, there's a couple of things. A great question. So the first part is rolling out. We roll out the HATS platform to everybody, which basically is a secure chat platform for everybody. We provide kind of the base training there for people to use it. And the second part is there's also people can build workflows and agents as well inside the platform that other people can use inside the organization. But we have a process we follow. The HATS, it's called crawl, walk, run philosophy, where crawl is where we're getting people access to the platform, letting them use it for 30 days, making sure that they're doing the training. We come back again, and we have another topic where we're actually a meeting where we all go through questions they have. We start seeing who the AI explorers are, to figure out what's going on. And then we talk more about agents and workflows. Once we find some use cases that are repeatable, we go through a training of how to do workflows from that perspective. And then we come back another 30 days from there to talk about finding who the AI explorers are to really pass that off to the internal organization to make it work. But really comes down to getting AI in the hands securely first, and then giving the proper training so people can use it and find the value with a platform, with a secure platform.
Sure. Is that something you're seeing need for, or you're helping clients with? Is the training?
Yeah, the training's a big part of it. As far as there's some built-in trainings we do, but also the live training that we can do. But it's not hard because you can ask AI how to work itself anyway. So you can use AI to figure out AI too. What's the best way to like I use it a lot of times. Like for Gamma, I use Gemini because I've done some great my best presentations ever in 30 years have been done through Gamma. And even not having a marketing team, produced everything. So typically I use Gemini to create the content and what I'm going to talk about with my own thoughts, obviously. And then once that's built, then I have it build the Gamma prompt for me. I pop that in the Gamma, and then I will produce the presentation, tweak it a little bit. I'd say it gets there probably 95% of the way. And then when I'm done, I will put it back into Guim again, and I explain who I am. And I said, I explain my audience. I have to create a very engaging story for this particular presentation. And I say, please make up some stories as well. Make it story based. I gave a presentation at Exchange. I used this exact model I just described. And at the end, the first question I had, because I said, by the way, this is all AI generated, from start to finish with my thoughts. And the first question I got was, were the stories true, or did you use the AI ones that were made up by AI? And I said, no, I've replaced them with my own stories. Obviously, I didn't take the AI stories. They were pretty compelling stories, around secure AI adoption and how MSPs are positioned to sell AI as a service and to actually get there quickly.
What sort of projects do you guys see that you're working on now? Is it some form of AI automation, or what sort of demand do you see from your clients?
The demand we really see right now is working on more automations, taking things that they're already working with. And we're looking digging more into integrations in MCP, connecting up to actual systems, kind of taking the next step with our clients to actually, do different things, connecting into Office 365 and interacting, with that. So those are the things that we're seeing right now. And the other thing we have interest in more recently is phone agents. Clients are interested in figuring out how they can leverage AI for after hours calls to handle customer support things. So that's the other thing we see. We have a little bit of uptick right now on those items, but really the integrations is really the next step, secure integrations in the areas. And the other part that we are getting more into is the financial customers are coming around, but they are very, very, not timid, but they're very, very thoughtful about how they're going to bring AI in, not to have any regulation issues, things like that. They know they need to do it. Some of the big banks are doing it, but a small credit union, a local, small national bank or financial advisors, they don't want to bring something in. So they're being very, very thoughtful on how they're doing that, making sure they're complying with the laws and using it the right way properly, not to, create an actual issue itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Still need to deal with compliance no matter what you're doing here, right?
Yep. And the other, just a kind of side topic, since we're talking about financial, that I think is a big topic right now with the Mythos and the Fable coming out. One of my concerns from a cyber perspective is that, a lot of banks, a lot of financial institutions use these core processors that are out there. And I think when you look at like some cyber risk, I know we're kind of diving away from AI, but if attackers are able to use that particular platform and find vulnerabilities in the core platforms, you're not just taking down like one community bank, you're taking down all the community banks out there. So I think that's another big threat is the power of AI that's out there for, that's out there for a lot of good things that the people that, the bad actors, we have to have ways to protect against, these new type of threats that are coming out somehow, and have also the ability in the tools to take compliance, to the next level. And the other thing, just kind of talking like OpenClaw, like having a human in the loop, like you don't want things just go. I mean, OpenClaw is a whole another can of worms, but having the ability to have a secure version of it that you can stop it and control some things that it's doing, so it doesn't create. Obviously, you don't want deleting things or anything like that, but
right.
You have security. A whole other part of security once AI really starts, because we're just kind of scratching the surface of base use cases, not going in and really doing a lot of work yet.
Right. Obviously, things are changing faster than ever with AI. It's creates new opportunities. What are you most excited about or looking forward to?
I am looking forward, it's a great question. There's so many that I can go so many different directions with that question. I think I'm looking forward to seeing a completely different interface. Well, I'm going to take it from an MSP perspective. I'm very interested in seeing a single console that our technicians can just talk through, that are connected through MCP or some other different protocol that interacts with all our different tools, and we can service clients very, very easily using a complete, integrated system that is secure, and we have the right controls in place. So I'm interested to see something like that. Interacting differently with AI than how we're currently prompting with it. I think that's also an interesting thing. Like, how do we interact with AI now through? Yes, you can talk into it, but you still need to get the best results. Sometimes you need to understand the model, the way you're using it. But I think that's what I'm very interested in right now. And going kind of similar to that, going back a little bit. So I have a degree in computer science from Drexel University. So I coded in Java, was the hottest language at the time. I did assembly. Part of our class was writing a quick sort in assembly. I've done access programming, I've done development, but again, you had to know programming language. I remember trying to hunt down memory leaks, and I was talking to one of my friends that still codes. He said, "Tim, it was like when we worked before, we had like a shovel to dig out a basement. Now I have a backhoe, I have a bobcat, I have a finisher, I have every single thing, everything at my disposal now, and I can build that basement in no time flat where it would take a long time." So it's the changing of the interface, and what the code, what you can do with AI to code, because you're interacting with a machine differently than you used to, where you had to type in and things like that. So I think that's going to be the most interesting thing I'm looking forward to see how that changes over time. Because obviously the models are going to get better, the intelligence is going to be better, the reasoning is going to be better. But how do you actually interact with it so more people can use it easily?
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think, we all started chatting with it. So that's the default way we think about it. And then a lot of attention and funding is around coding, and that's great. But I feel like the majority of people are not developers. And I think a lot of people are missing what you just said. Like there's workflows, there's agentic operations, you have to connect the right things with MCP servers or skills or CLIs. But now you can automate or augment so much more than you used to. And that's right. I'm excited as well. Like I think there's just a ton of opportunity to help so many small businesses in ways that, we never could before. And, most of the industry is still focused on creating code, not necessarily workflows and agentic operations. How do you think that'll shape? Obviously, there'll be early adopters and others and MSPs and business. I mean, do you think this gives you, an advantage or head start versus others? And how do you think that will shape the way you go to market and win deals and those sort of things?
Right. I think we have a head start to understand what's there, but you can catch up very quickly with AI. So I don't think that the train has left the station yet. I think you could there's still enough. There's so much open white space right now. There's so much opportunity out there. But to understand what you can do for the client, and in the SMB market, I was talking to somebody else the other day about this. The problem is that let's say you do want to do some agentic workflows. However, there's a lot of specific applications that are very, very vertical and very, very closed. And there's smaller systems that you can't just connect into. It's not like a Salesforce or an Office 365 system. So you have that moat, I guess, when you're trying to do some agentic operations or working with that. So that's going to be the other area that you kind of see. But I think that there's there's definitely opportunity there, but I think getting it in the hands of the SMBs first, so they can see what it's going to do before you start going to that next phase. That's more of a run phase when you're starting to do a lot of integrations, workflows, and you may have to have a human in the loop before RFP gets generated automatically. It goes out. You could have an agent that's going out and scouring the certain websites for bids. It's creating it, it's doing the work for you completely, and then it's giving it to an engineer or a procurement person to review before it goes out. Before it just automatically submits it right out to the actual part there, and it's grabbing data from previous jobs, logging into different ERP systems that has access to get the most current data. That's the other big thing is right now is the data. I know with having the right information for the AI to use from like a RAG perspective, so that it's producing results that are correct for your business with the right information. You want to use quotes from, in our industry, if you use a quote for a server or a piece of hardware, you're going to lose a lot of money with how fast, the prices have gone up, recently. So I think having that correct the data to make the decisions and not to make decisions, but to build out, the results of your work there, I think is also very important.
Tim, you've gone from starting in the basement to now selling to one of the largest MSP companies there is. Did that change your view or what you have access to or how you see, AI differently now that you're a part of a much larger group?
I would say, from my perspective, the way that I decided to transact, with Lyra and with Evergreen, they kept the PCH Technologies brand. I'm the CEO. I run the company like I did previously. So there's nothing. Yes, there's some peer groups inside Lyra and some additional resources, but I'm still out going to different conferences, speaking about it, connecting with my peers. So really, from my perspective, nothing has changed. Obviously, I think Lyra and the rest of the aggregators out there are also big on AI and AI adoption. So, it's kind of validated, me as a standalone MSP that I was on the right track. And if the big, aggregators are actually doing it, then I'm definitely on the right track. So it's kind of validating what I'm doing in terms of AI.
That's some strong validation.
Yeah.
Given the track record and size of Lyra and Evergreen. What's the biggest challenge right now that you have related to AI or adoption or go to market or just anything related to AI?
I think it's a good question. I think I'm trying to figure out what's next. Everybody's talking about forward deployed engineers, right? And how do we, I'm figuring out how we can, bring that in house and make it kind of pay for itself. And there's a lot of work that has to go around that before just bringing a person in to do that, to be that business consultant. Yeah. We're working through our process of our QBRs to get closer to our clients, figuring out how to be that business consultant, trying to change our thought pattern a little bit, the culture a little bit differently. So I think that's the biggest challenge we're going to have as an organization, is that we have to lean into different muscles, because I'm computer science, and here I am, 30 years later, I'm a CEO. I know business inside and out now. I still know the technical piece a little bit, but I think that, change, it's a different set of muscles than you have to use when you're working with AI and making sure you understand what the client needs. And I think going even more vertically focused is going to be more important than ever for MSPs, because AI is, again, it's so wide and so broad that it's so hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up before AI, and now it's really, really hard to keep up with AI. So you really got to, I think, be very, very specific in what you're doing to become an expert in that one particular area. And I'm going to think there's more than enough business out there for everybody to help people with AI.
Yeah, I think there's fear, but I think this creates a lot more opportunity than most people realize. I think it's really good advice, which is it does change more than one human could comprehend. But if you're focused on an area or a niche or a combination of those things, then you could really be knowledgeable and be deep in an area instead of trying to understand every, latest model and voice model and coding harness and, application layer and add-on vendor and every other thing that goes in between.
Definitely.
Has this changed how you hire or train or promote your team?
So we're looking at how, we have AI, we have the HATS platform, running throughout the whole organization. It's one of the things I think is important is that we call it, eat your own dog food or drink your own champagne, to find a better way to put it. With all our cyber products, we use all them. So you want your team to use them. Again, we're looking for people that, if we're bringing new people on, we're currently looking for a new finance person, and we're leaning into somebody that's going to embrace AI and going to want to work with, our team internally to use AI to improve the finance function, do some more MCP connections into the current system in order to really take the skill, use the human more as far as looking at analysis, looking at profitability, being able to analyze more data and to dig into more things and being able to budget better, forecast better. So anybody we're looking to bring on the company, we want to have an AI focus, and we want to make sure that's one of the traits that we're looking for in the hiring process. That's something they are interested in AI and they want to use AI and work for a company that's leveraging AI internally right now and not be afraid of it. I think that's an important thing that we're looking for when we're bringing new people into the organization.
Yeah, obviously the mindset to be curious and to wonder matters, I think, now more than ever.
Yep. I think it's each person. I think it's a great point, Damien, is that you need to have imagination. A lot of people have said this. This is not me saying this. You really have imagination of how you can use AI, especially with the basic chat interface, things you can do with it, how you could connect this up to that, and then have a result. But you have to really think outside the box because there's no rules really with it. You can really do a lot of very interesting things with it for sure.
Yeah. I think this is amazing, Tim. I feel like I could go all day asking you this, but in the interest of time, I certainly won't. If people want to know more about you, can you tell them what you're looking for, or how to connect and how to find you?
Sure, definitely. I have a presence on LinkedIn. I do post about AI and different topics, AI adoption. So if any MSP wants to reach out to me on any thoughts that I have or learn more about AI adoption or anything related to MSP, I'm more than happy to do that. You can find me. My name's Tim Guim, and you can find me on LinkedIn, and you can direct message me or connect with me. So.
Yeah, a ton of experience that you have, not just the speaking, but a lot of hard fought experience. So make sure to take Tim up on that opportunity. Tim, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you so much for being on MSP Mindset.
Great. Thank you, Damien. I really enjoyed it as well. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely.